With the stock market at record highs, are you prepared for the next downturn? Corrections can be unforgiving. Smart investors know diversification is the key to financial security. Noble Gold Investments make it easy to diversify with gold. With over $2 billion in sales, Noble Gold has helped thousands of Americans add gold to their portfolios. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce Silver America the Beautiful coins as a thank you. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Don't let the next correction catch you off guard. NobleGoldInvestments.com. President Donald Trump sends a Truth Social, and he is sending the world a message. The gravy train is ending. Since the beginning, we have been very clear on this program that it is not America's role to get involved in the Russian-Ukrainian dispute. From the very beginning, we looked at the cost and the consequences, about how this could destabilize an entire continent, that could destroy the U.S. dollar, that could bring us closer and closer to needless nuclear war. It was the conventional wisdom back in 2022 at the outbreak of the war. It was the conventional wisdom that we must fight Russia. We must fight Russia. I actually went to CPAC 3 years ago and said no. It was written up everywhere. I said that our leaders should care more about the southern border than the Ukrainian border. I was attacked as being insensitive, cruel. In reality, we were just putting America first. 99% of the people in our audience were against us. It was by far the most unpopular stand that we've ever taken. And I knew we were right. At our core, I knew I was right. It was been one of those interesting things to see how the audience moved throughout the months. We'd be getting Ukrainian flags sent to us in email chains. People saying, we must fight the Russians. Now our audience is 99% against it. It has been one of the most remarkable changes and shifts. And honestly, credit to those of you that did change your mind. Credit to those of you that realize the scam that is the Ukrainian conflict. And those of you that were in that 1%, you helped move the Overton window. You held the line. You held your elected leaders to a higher standard. And someone who deserves a lot of credit is Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, more than almost anybody else, deserves credit for his courage and his moral clarity on this conflict from the very beginning. Asking the right questions, framing the conflict correctly. And now today, the American people are exhausted with sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. Remember, we had lawmakers on this program, one of whom I have a lot of respect for, North Dakota's own Senator Kramer. Again, he's a great man. We talk frequently. We just are completely different sides of this topic. This is not about anything personal with Senator Kramer. He was very polite when he came on the show. But he said on this program that there would be no limit to the amount of money that would be sent to Ukraine. Apparently, he was right. Over $300 to $350 billion that we have spent on what? So that over 1 million people could be died, to subsidize the slaughter of entire generations of Ukrainians? President Trump just posted this on Truth Social. It is breaking news live here on this program. And I'm going to read the entire thing word for word. President Trump is the peace president. What he is doing is going to make the world a better, more stable place. Joe Biden was barreling us blindly towards a world war. Donald Trump writes on Truth Social, quote, think of it. A modestly successful comedian, Volodymyr Zelensky, talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. Let me pause. Him calling him a modestly successful comedian means that President Trump is irked at Zelensky. You see, Zelensky wants to keep the war going. Zelensky does not have a loyalty to his people. Zelensky is captured by ultra-radical Ukrainian nationalists that refuse to ever negotiate with the Russian government. There was a deal on the table a week into the conflict that was being brokered in Istanbul, Turkey. Boris Johnson was there. Tony Blinken was there. Sergei Lavrov was there. The Russian foreign minister was there. And a deal could have been brokered 1 week into the conflict that would have given Ukraine more land than they would currently get right now, and 1 million people would not have died. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed, while the United States will get nothing back. Why didn't sleepy Joe Biden demand equalization? In that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us. We have a big, beautiful ocean as separation. This is exactly right. Europe, why don't you guys step up? Oh, because the same Europeans that were clamoring and rebuking J.D. Vance are the ones that want us to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on their defense. So they want us to be able to subsidize their European social welfare democracies, even though they're censoring their own citizens, even though Germany is looking far more like Russia than even Russia is. Europe did not step up to the plate because they want America to fight the fight for them. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money we sent is missing. He refuses to have elections and is very low in Ukrainian polls. And the only thing he was good at was playing Biden like a fiddle. A dictator without elections. Woo! Trump is calling Zelensky a dictator. Yeah, I mean, he refuses to have an election. Now let's press pause here. You might say it's a midst of a war. Who could have an election? Abraham Lincoln had an election in the midst of an American Civil War. Franklin Delano Roosevelt had elections in the midst of a world war. We had elections in the midst of World War I. Leaders who are illegitimate suspend Democrat means and norms to hold on to power. They could easily have an election right now. Easily. Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country left. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia. Something, I'll admit, only Trump and the Trump administration can do. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably wants to keep the gravy train going. I love Ukraine, which is very important that Trump says that, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions have unnecessarily died, and so it continues. So let me translate all of this. This is President Trump with a public salvo, because I guarantee you President Trump has been trying to get Zelensky's attention privately, because President Trump is not just opposing Zelensky. This is President Trump scolding his own intelligence department. The CIA deep state, they are the ones that have been puppeteering Zelensky for this entire time. They're the ones that have been configuring this entire conflict. And the power of public scolding like this is you better get in line or else I'm going to go do a deal with the Russians. The Ukrainians are getting mad that there might be an end to the war. Think about that. They're getting mad that this war might actually end. President Trump ran on the idea of preventing World War III and preventing a nuclear conflict. And President Trump says very clearly, he's a dictator. He's acting like a dictator, absolutely. So the significance of this entire statement is we are going to find a settlement to this war, whether Zelensky wants it or not. He does not have a say in this matter anymore. Ukraine operates solely thanks to the subsidy of the American government. And God bless President Trump for just toning out all of the clamoring from people like Tom Cotton, people like Liz Cheney. They all want this war to continue. Yet President Trump says, no, I'm not going to listen to the neocons of the U.S. Senate. Washington wants forever wars. Joni Ernst, these guardians of the forever war machine. The same people who let Afghanistan last 20 years want another 20-year war. Trump wants peace. And this is him warning everybody, peace is coming. So get on our side or peace is going to be stuffed down your throat, Mr. Modestly successful comedian named Zelensky.